trăng tròn 16 thật to, người ta đi đứng thật đông. Đêm nay là hội trăng tròn, em đi xem hội trăng tròn. Áo quần hai gấm vạnh bao, nhìn lên trên trời ông trăng soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng.
A new report says the growing population around the world is harming the environment. More people are using more of the Earth's natural resources than ever before. Experts say poor people around the world will suffer most in the future unless environmental damage is stopped. They say more should be done to balance human and environmental needs. The United Nations Population Fund is responsible for studying population growth. Its new report is called The State of the World Population 2001. It examines the links among environmental conditions, population growth, and efforts to help poor people in developing countries. The world's population now is more than 6,000 million people. That number is 2 times more than it was in 1960. The population is expected to increase to more than 9,000 million by the year 2050.
The UN Population Fund says that in 50 years, more than 4,000 million people will be living in countries that cannot provide for people's daily needs. The report says all the expected growth in world population will take place in developing countries. The population of the 49 least developed countries is expected to be almost 3 times greater in 50 years. Yet, the UN agency says people in the richest countries use much more of the world's resources than people in developing countries. It says a child born today in an industrialized country will do more harm to the environment during his lifetime than as many as 50 children born in developing countries.
Almost 60% of people in developing countries lack ways to deal with waste. About 30% of the people in those countries cannot get clean water. Unclean water and a lack of ways to deal with human wastes kill more than 12 million people each year. The Earth's natural resources, such as water, land, and air, are being used at ever-increasing rates. Experts estimate that more than 1,000 million people do not have clean water. By the year 2025, as many as 3,000 million people may be living in areas where supplies of fresh water are extremely low.
Carbon dioxide and other gases trap heat in the atmosphere and raise average temperatures on Earth. There is a strong link between population growth and the increase in what are called greenhouse gases. The population grew almost 4 times larger in the past 100 years. This means more people are using greater quantities of fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and coal. These fuels produce carbon dioxide when burned. The UN report says 12 times more carbon dioxide gas was being released at the end of the century than was at the beginning. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change estimates the Earth's atmosphere could become more than 5 degrees Celsius warmer during this century. The group estimates the sea levels will rise about half a meter in the next 100 years. The climate changes will affect rainfall as well as temperatures worldwide. This will affect food production and the supply of natural resources throughout the world.
The UN Population Fund says the warming of the Earth is already causing infectious diseases, such as malaria and dengue fever, to spread. Higher temperatures mean that the insects and animals that carry disease can now survive places they could not before. This leads to diseases being spread in new places. The UN report says forests are being destroyed at the highest levels in history. Trees are being cleared for extra agricultural land and to make room for housing.
Em đi em lạc lối về, giữa đường gặp mấy chàng trai, hỏi thăm con đường nhà em, quen ra hóa ra gần nhà, theo nhau đi tìm lối về, trăng tròn thật sáng đằng sau, vầng trăng khoác em áo nguyệt, soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng.
Trees absorb greenhouse gases and act as a barrier from more global warming. Over the past 100 years, the world has lost almost half its forest area. The destruction of forests leads to the loss of many species of plants and animals. There is a direct connection between people and the health of the Earth's environment. Right now, the UN report says the rate at which people are using natural resources threatens the health of the planet. It also threatens the supplies of water, forests, and other resources needed for future populations.
The UN Population Fund says water may be the Earth's most valuable resource. However, many developing countries are suffering from severe water shortages. More than 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Yet, only 3% of the total water on Earth is fresh water. Only 1% of the entire supply of water on Earth is available for human use. Worldwide, more than 50% of the yearly available fresh water is being used, much of it for agriculture. Groundwater levels in some cities in China, Latin America, and South Asia are decreasing more than 1 meter every year. Experts say that in about 50 years, more than 4,000 million people will be living in countries that cannot provide enough water for daily needs.
The UN says most developing countries do not produce enough food to feed their people, nor are they financially able to import the amount of food they need. About 800 million people living in poor countries do not have enough to eat. Food production in many poor countries is threatened by soil damage, water shortages, poor agricultural methods, and fast population growth. Supplies of fish around the world are also under threat.
The UN group says a combination of changes has led to sharp growth in the world population. Improvements in diet, healthcare, and waste removal systems have helped people live longer, more productive lives. However, this means more people are in their reproductive years and having more children. For the first time in human history, 1,000 million people are between the ages of 15 and 24. As populations grow, demand increases. So does the search for water, food, and energy resources.
In developing countries throughout the world, women are half of the world's agricultural workforce. In the world's poorest countries, women head almost 25% of homes outside cities. In many countries, they are responsible for food, water, fuel, and other duties in their homes. Yet, women usually do not have control of their lives. National law or local traditions often deny women the rights that would help them improve their conditions. The UN report finds that programs that increase education and economic opportunities for women help to slow population growth. Women who gain from these programs are more likely to stay in school longer, have more control over their reproductive lives, and choose to have smaller families.
The UN Population Fund says the AIDS crisis could sharply increase death rates in some areas of the world. In many countries, women and young people are the worst affected. AIDS directly affects health and the family. In severely affected areas, communities cannot support the large numbers of surviving children and older people. AIDS kills women who work on family farms and men who own them, so the farms no longer produce food for the families.
The UN Population Fund says international policies need to be put into effect to improve economic conditions, increase social development, and ease pressure on the environment. It also says women should be given more control over their lives. Empowering women could slow population growth. The UN Population Fund says high population growth makes it more difficult for poor countries to improve their economic development. It says measures to help improve conditions for growing populations could also protect the natural environment. The report says humans have always changed and been changed by the natural world. It says the future of human development depends on wise choices made now.
This is Steve Ember.
And this is Bob Doughty.
gian xem hội trăng tròn 16 thật to, người ta đi đứng thật đông. Đêm nay là hội trăng tròn, em đi xem hội trăng tròn. Áo quần hai gấm bạnh bao, nhìn lên trên trời ông trăng soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng. Ông trăng ý à nằm nghiêng, ông trăng ý à nằm nghiêng, ý à nằm nghiêng, nhân gian ý à nằm nghiêng. Em đi em lạc lối về, giữa đường gặp mấy chàng trai hỏi thăm con đường nhà em. Quen ra hóa ra gần nhà, theo nhau đi tìm lối về. Trăng tròn thật sáng đằng sau, vầng trăng khoác em áo nguyệt soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng. Tròn 16 thật to, người ta đi đứng thật đông. Đêm nay là hội trăng tròn, em đi xem hội trăng tròn. Áo quần hai gấm bạnh bao, nhìn lên trên trời ông trăng soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng. Ông trăng ý à nằm nghiêng, ông trăng ý à nằm nghiêng, ý à nằm nghiêng, nhân gian ý à nằm nghiêng. Em đi em lạc lối về, giữa đường gặp mấy chàng trai hỏi thăm con đường nhà em. Quen ra hóa ra gần nhà, theo nhau đi tìm lối về. Trăng tròn thật sáng đằng sau, vầng trăng khoác em áo nguyệt soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng. Vầng trăng khoác em áo nguyệt soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng. Vầng trăng khoác em áo nguyệt soi lên bóng em nằm nghiêng.